Okay, to understand this last feature of democracy, let's just have an example of Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe, in 1980, Zimbabwe got independence, right? And since 1980, ZANU PF party is ruling in Zimbabwe. Yes, ZANU PF. Now, what is the full name of ZANU? The Zimbabwe, Z for Zimbabwe, A for African, N for National, U for Union, and P for Patriotic Front, PF. So it is in short known as ZANU PF party, which is ruling in Zimbabwe since 1980 when they got their independence. Now, ZANU PF party worked very hard to make Zimbabwe independent. Okay, so Robert Mugabe was the leader of this party. So after the independence, and even when they were struggling for independence, this party, the leader was Robert Mugabe. He was leading the party. Now, earlier he was a supporter, he worked for Zimbabwe, he worked for the independence, but as Zimbabwe was independent, then what Robert Mugabe did? He made himself and he gave himself all the powers. So, decision making power, everything he controlled himself. So, Robert Mugabe made himself president and started controlling people, judges, media, etc. Means overall, he made himself Lord, he made himself God of Zimbabwe and asked the people to worship him as God. So, he declared himself as president and he controlled all the things regarding the people. Judges were controlled, the court was controlled, media, what they have to show, what they don't have to show, everything was being controlled by whom? Robert Mugabe, the president of Zimbabwe. So children, we saw this. Now what he is doing, he is not following the government. If Zimbabwe is saying they are democratic, so then the government should rule within limits set by the constitutional law and citizens. But here we see that Robert Mugabe has taken up all in his control and he is not listening to the judges, he is not listening to the constitution, media, citizen rights, all have been overlooked. So he has made himself the Lord, and this form of government cannot be called a democratic government. Okay, so this is an example where Zimbabwe cannot call themselves democratic government because they are not following the constitutional laws, they are not giving the citizens their right, they are not working in limits. So any government which calls themselves a democratic government should work according to the constitutional laws. Okay, so now quickly I'm going to recall the definition of democracy, because the name of the chapter is what is democracy. So you need to understand democracy is a form of government in which the rulers are elected by the people, right? And to understand it better, we have these features, which first feature says in a democracy the final decision making power must rest with those elected by the people. The people have elected, they given vote, so the decision making power should rest in the hands of the elected people and not anybody else. A democracy must be based on a free and fair election, means the election should be in a free manner. No malpractices should be seen. No tricks should be involved. In a democracy, each adult citizen above 18 years must have one vote and each vote must have one value, means whether you are poor, whether you are rich, whether you belong to any caste, any religion, if you are 18 years and above, then you have the value of one vote. Okay, then the last is a democratic government should rule within limits set by constitutional law and citizens' rights, means there should be limits, which is very important. Okay, so constitutional laws and rights of citizens has to be focused because people are the ones who are choosing their elected representatives, elected people. Okay, so now this is the IP for today, children. The most common question which is asked is what is democracy, and the second common and the most important question is, till now of the chapter, explain the features of democracy. These two questions are very important. So you need to prepare what is democracy, defining democracy, plus you can even explain democracy through your own ways, write your own answers, frame your own answers, and then explain the features of democracy, which I have told you for. You have to write them. Okay, so this is your IP for today. I hope you have understood, and then I will take the other section of the chapter later on. Thank you. Have a nice day.